This is Mother Teresa A. Wiley bringing you a thought for the day. In Mark 9, as the disciples traveled along to Jerusalem with Jesus, they began to dispute amongst themselves who among them was the greatest. When Jesus questioned them about their dispute, they would not tell him what they were talking about. But Jesus, being all-knowing, said to them, "If any man desire to be first, he must be last and servant of all." We tend to assess greatness as the position out front, but God does not evaluate things like man. There are many positions out front that are held together by those that are working behind the scenes. Those behind the scenes, though out of view, are invaluable in their service. This brings to mind an African-American woman named Zephyr Wright. Probably not a well-known name, but should be for the pivotal influence she had in the signing of the Civil Rights Act in 1964. Zephyr Wright was the personal cook to President Lyndon B. Johnson. He had brought her in after he had a disagreement with the White House staff cook, and the cook quit. They hired another staff cook, but President Johnson brought Zephyr Wright as his own personal cook behind the scenes and hired her husband as his chauffeur. While Martin Luther King Jr. and many other famous names were marching and making speeches fighting against segregation, like Esther, Zephyr was serving in the right place for such a time as was needed and able to speak directly to the president as she prepared his meals. She told him about the woes of Jim Crow laws and segregation and the importance of change. Moved with compassion by her words, President Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act in 1964 as Zephyr stood witnessing this historic act. And then he handed the pen he signed with to her, saying, "You deserve this more than anyone." As a servant in the White House, Zephyr was able to influence change for her people. Jesus Christ was our greatest example as he came not to be ministered to, but to minister. Let's ask God for the heart of a servant, because that is true greatness.